Welcome back. So in the last video, we talked about the system-driven models and what it is possible to do with what we have created in Cosmo to be able to model the most complex systems in the world. I ended the video by saying that once we have this model, what we want to do now is to do simulation. Let's take a couple of minutes to explain what we mean by simulation and, by the way, why it is so important in our context. Simulation is something that you already know, and I'm sure you have already used that in your life. Assume that you're doing a loan for buying a house. So you're going to borrow a certain amount of money, and this money you will have to reimburse it over a certain period of time, let's say 30 years, and you will have to pay interest. So there is an interest rate. And you're facing your banker, and you said, yes, oh, that seems to be very interesting, but I would like to know how much am I going to reimburse every month? And what will be the total cost of the loan? Which is a very natural question. And how do you do to answer this question? Well, first, you start by creating a model. It's a very simple model because it's a very simple problem. But you model, you note what is the amount of money that you borrow. You know the time period over which you're going to reimburse, and you know the interest rate. Very simple model. And what you do? You run a simulation. You say, okay, after 1 year, after using the interest rate, here's what I'm going to reimburse. After 2 years, here's what I'm going to reimburse, and so on and so forth. And with this simulation, you will have the answer to your question. Well, imagine that you can do that for much more complex systems. That's what we do. With the models we have created, with the system-driven models we have created, we bring also the simulation capacity, which allows for very complex systems like the hand, like a city, like an epidemic, to be able to know what's going to happen in the future exactly as you did with your loan. So this is very natural. There is another very important point when you're dealing with complex systems, is that for complex systems, this simulation way to predict is the only possible way. There is no other way when you're facing a very complex system to know what is going to happen than just doing a simulation. And there is a mathematical theorem showing that. And so simulations are very important. So we have seen modeling, complex systems, system-driven models, simulation. The question is, what do we do with all that? That's what we are going to talk about in the next video. Stay tuned.